Alright, let's make a speaker grill from Fusion 360. So this one's going to be based off of the Dayton 215-8. This is a passive radiator that's part of essentially a set that I'm building for all the Apache cases right now. So it's already got all the dimensions here for me, so I'm just going to be basing all my numbers off of that. So to get started, we're going to go in Fusion, we're going to create a sketch, and we want to select the XY plane. After that, we want to go up here to circle, and we want to draw our first circle. Now, I like to use inches, however, in Dayton Audio's reference drawings, they use millimeters, and instead of converting, I want to stay in inches, so what I'll do is just type in 216 mm, and that will actually convert it automatically. So it's 8.504, but if you double click on it, you can see it's that 216, so it's easy to re-reference back to if you forget what that number was supposed to be there for originally. Next is the speaker basket cutout. This is how large the hole needs to be for this to actually fit. And let's see, we want it to be 180 millimeters. And then from there, that's pretty much just about it. We need two more things, it looks like. We want, number one, the hole cutout diameter, which is 206 millimeters. We're going to turn that into a construction drawing. There's 5 of these circles here. So for construction drawing, click on the line and press X, and that makes it a reference instead of something that actually interacts with the rest of what you're doing. And then we'll go ahead and create a circle, and we'll just trace up. That way you know it's in line. We'll get it right up there, and 4.4 millimeters according to Dayton. There's our first hole. Now we want to evenly space 5 of these all the way around. So to do that, we'll go to circular pattern. We'll click the circle that we want to make the pattern for. Click center point here and select our center point. And now that we've got that, you can see there's 3 of them. By default, we want 5. And when we go up to 5, it spaces them all equally apart. From here, we have our holes and we have our cutouts and we have our speaker size for the frame. Next, we need to make the actual outer frame portion. So we're going to offset. Let's start with 1/8 of an inch and go from there. So what we'll do now that we've offset it is we're going to highlight everything and we're going to press E to extrude, and the surround sticks out about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch above the frame. So let's go ahead and just double that roughly and do 0.75 to start with. You're always sort of guessing in the beginning, but as you go along, you'll get more and more accurate with about how much you need to start with and have less and less prototypes. Once we've made this into a new component, not a new body, we can see that our sketches are gone. We'll just go here to the side and re-show that sketch, and you can see here our sketch is now selectable on this face. We'll go ahead and press E for extrude, and we'll click on these 2 inner portions here. And then we're gonna go ahead and also, we'll leave those for now. We'll extrude this down 0.625. And you can see now we have these little posts that are still sticking up here. We're gonna go ahead and click on each of these posts after pressing E to extrude. Click on the top of each one of these bad boys. After you've got the top of them all selected, flip it over, click this face, and that will tell it to extrude all the way through. And in this case, you can see the red telling it's a cut. So there's our holes. And now you can see we've already got a little bowl shape for our speaker grill. Now, generally speaking, you want to have some kind of clearance here. And so for doing so, I recommend doing one of a few things. You can kind of create your own. For example, in this case, that 180 is about where the speaker magnet ends. And so I think if I extrude all of this down, starting not from the very top, but rather about halfway down, that should be a good starting place. So to do that, using lines that are up here instead of where we want them, we'll offset. Instead of starting at a profile plane, and we'll offset at half the distance, which is 0.375, and then we want to extrude at a distance of 0.375 from there. We don't want to cut this time, though. We want to join. We'll press OK. And this case now, you can see we have a little lip here. So this lip here is going to be where the speaker itself sits, the frame of the speaker, and then this is going to be the actual speaker grill area, and then this is just the outer cover for everything. So at this point, we can actually click this face, and we can go ahead and create a, if my computer would quit wigging out, click this face, create a sketch, and always check your orientations. You want to make sure that you're always looking at the top or bottom with the text oriented correctly, or things can get a little weird. We're going to go to create polygon and inscribe polygon, and we'll create a hexagon. Let's do 0.5, and there's our hexagon. We want to round these corners off a little bit, so we'll go to fillet here. We'll add fillets onto all these bad boys by clicking on each of the two lines that we want to create a fillet between, and now we have nice rounded over fillets. From there, we'll press enter, and then we'll create a line over here. We'll, from the center point of this hexagon, go up to the midpoint here, and then do another one from the center point to the midpoint here. Press escape to exit out of the line mode. Click each of these lines that you just created. Press X to turn them into construction lines. Go to create rectangular pattern. Double click your polygon. Go to directions. Click each of these two construction lines. For distribution, switch to spacing. And then quantity we'll skip for now. Do distance. Let's start with 1.0625. And then we want that to be symmetric. And then we'll do that for this other distance as well. 1.065 symmetric. And you can see we're drawing multiple hexagons now. We want to just simply continue on by creating more quantity in each direction until we have completely covered this area where the grill is going to be. And you can see at 9, we've totally covered it. And now we're covering it this way. And don't worry about the excess ones that go beyond it, that's totally fine. Once we have all of our hexagons covering this entire area, we're going to go ahead and first hide this sketch. We want to show the current sketch we're working on, and we're going to select this whole area. So I recommend just trying to highlight some of it to collect some of them in the extrude right away, so you don't have to click quite as much. But ultimately, you got to click every single one of these areas until it's filled. Alright, and once they're all filled, flip it over, click on this face, and that will tell it to extrude all the way through and cut. And now we've got a whole cut here, and there was a reason we did it in that order. Because now, when we re-show the sketch, if we click on it, we can now select these hexagons in the free space. And we're slightly below the top of the surface. If we were to extrude, we have an 1/8 inch. So we'll press E to extrude, we'll click on the open hexagon area. You can see it wants to go down by default, so if I put in 0.1, it's going to extrude down. We want to go up. So to do that, we'll simply do minus, and it's 0.125 inches tall to reach the surface, so let's just do half of that, 0.065 in the negative, and then an important thing here is don't do join, instead do new component, and then press OK. After you've done new component, go ahead and hide your sketch over here by clicking the eyeball. And we're going to go up here to modify, chamfer, and we're going to click each one of these individually all the way around. Just like we did with extruding, you want to chamfer all of these edges, but don't be lazy and just click the face, because it's going to give you issues with some of the spots where it's chamfering. It will work, but it's going to look ugly in certain spots. So unfortunately, you got to take the long road on this one, at least as far as I know. And you got to just click each one individually. If you do click the face up by mistake, just click it again and it will deselect it. just one by one. So we're all the way around. Almost there. Alright, once you've got them all selected, go ahead and create the chamfer the size you want them all to be. Somewhere between like 20 and 50 is probably pretty good. Let's do 30 in this case and see how that looks. Alright, looks good to me. And maybe 35. Alright, 35 looks good. So now we've got 35 thousandth chamfers on every one of these edges, and it's starting to look pretty clean. So now from here, we need to extrude this the rest of the way up, and it's really easy to do so. Just click this face, press E, click this face you want to extrude it up to, and you can see it's already done it. Now we want to make sure we do new component once again, and press OK. And from this point, if you want to see what it would look like with the colors, press S, A, and then you can click appearance, and here you'll see a big long list of different styles and colors that you can choose from. In this case, we'll keep it simple. I'll take the black, and I'll color the cover. We'll color the front hex, and then let's do green. And just like that, you got yourself a speaker grill. Easy peasy. Now to go a little further with that, there's lots of extra things you can do to touch it up, but one of the easiest things you can do is, since you already know this is the size of your speaker frame, why not just create your spacer right here and now? So in this case, what we'll do is just click this face, press E, and if you click up here, you'll see it extrudes all the way up. Now that's not quite what we want. To make it easier to see, if we go to new component, you can see this would be your spacer right here. This new colored section is their spacer. However, we need to have consideration for the clearance that's needed for the speaker frame itself. In this case, the speaker frame, according to Dayton, is 3.5 millimeters thick, which I think is right about an 1/8 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch start to the offset it 0.125, which is an 1/8 inch, and you'll see now it sticks up too far. But if we click this face again, it goes back down. And now, just like that, we have a perfect spacer. And if you want to see the spacer alone, there you go. So you can hide these components individually, and you can kind of see different things about it. So for example, if you want to see just the lower hex, or if you want to see just the upper hex, or if you want to see just the cover, you can do all of those things easily enough. Now, most people are probably going to be putting this on some kind of Apache or vault case. So in that situation, you're going to want to add ribs to it. The way you can do that for both your speaker grill and your spacer, go up here to assemble, insert component, and I need to find one of my rib files. I'm going to try and find the 2800 rear file, which I'm hoping is not too far down. Aha. So here's our rib file. You can see when we flip her over, we're basically perfectly in line. Now I'm always kind of paranoid, so I do like Z minus 0.2 2 thou, and you can see that ensures that you're not going to have any weird slicer problems. Press OK, and then all we got to do is go up here to combine. Click combine, click the cover of your grill, click the ribs. You got to click each individual piece. And then once you've got it all selected, you'll see all of this is red and your cover is blue. Press OK, and then go to combine again. This time we're going to click our spacer. Then we're going to click all of the ribs. And then we're going to press OK and cut that. You can see the ribs are still here, but if we hide them, when we flip it over, wham bam. There's your perfect spacer. There's your perfect grill. Spacer here, grill here. Export them separately in the slicer, and you'll be good to go, baby. Easy.